Hello, and welcome to the pilot episode of Glorified Marks. My name is Bobby.
Jeremy.
And we are huge wrestling fans. We are friends. We've been friends for about seven? Yeah, a long time. And we're old as well, but I guess we could start off by giving our backstories on how we became wrestling fans before we get into the fun Royal Rumble and WrestleMania predictions for 2025. So I'll let you start with your wrestling history, your background.
Oh man, I don't even know what started me. It was The Undertaker.
Huh?
Watching The Undertaker week after week. I think the Kane and Undertaker feud was huge for me.
Yeah.
I think I watched it before that, but the Kane and Undertaker feud just pulled me in.
That's what your memory drives to.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Austin 316 says, I just whipped your ass.
Yeah. Yeah.
History after that.
For sure. I grew up, my mom was a huge wrestling fan, oddly enough. And I remember having the Hulkamania shirts and all that stuff. And actually having one of the ones that ripped off. And I regret ripping it when I was younger. Because those were even back then, they were going for a large amount of money. But of course, being a boy, you wanted to rip those shirts.
Yeah.
So I started Hulkamania. And then I became a Macho Man fan. And then obviously went into the Attitude Era. And, it was just always been a fan. I mean, besides the Triple H's reign in the early 2000s, I did get out of it for a few years there, but, I love wrestling, and I think it is a very underrated medium for storytelling. So
that's my favorite thing about it. Anyone who does, wrestling's fake, you watch movies, you watch TV.
Exactly. And
you like a good story as much as I do.
Exactly. And just because they are physically, involved doesn't mean it negates the storytelling that is involved with wrestling. So I do think that people are, especially now, the layers of storytelling in wrestling is insane.
Yes, it really is. And that's why this Rumble is awesome.
This Rumble... Honestly, so that's a good transition point into the Rumble. We're not even trying. This is us flying off the cuff. But this year, honestly, is the first year for me that there could be legitimately 10 winners, and I would not be shocked because there's so many stories that are intertwined.
Yes.
It's a good time to be a wrestling fan.
It really is.
So let's start off with the Women's Royal Rumble. I think what we should do is do our predictions, but also give what we want and what we think is actually going to happen. Because I do think that they are two different things. I think we both are very much involved with the story. So we're going to have different opinions, but at the same time, I think we try to think it as logically as we can when it comes to our predictions. So I want to throw a fun aspect on what I would do if I was the booker. So I want to do both, where we give our logical answers, which is our concrete. This is what we are predicting, but then have a little bit of fun of what we would do if we were the lead booker.
Okay.
So I will let you start with the Women's Royal Rumble match.
So for funsies, I would love to see Alexa Bliss show back up and win this thing.
Yep.
For many reasons. I mean, I will gladly look at Alexa Bliss all day long.
Yeah.
But I always felt like when you talk about contracts so much in the public limelight, it's part of the story.
It could be.
And that's my thing at this point. Alexa Bliss's contract is so public knowledge right now.
It's crazy, yeah.
That feels like the story. So Alexa Bliss comes in, wins the Rumble, says, I proved I'm worth my contract. And that's kind of all that is for me.
So is that your fantasy and your...
That's my fantasy prediction, I think.
All right.
My actual prediction is Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair,
LOL.
Charlotte Flair facing Tiffy at Mania makes so much sense to me. They're so similar.
Oddly similar.
That is a perfect match for me.
Gosh, you're killing me because honestly, I picture Charlotte Flair as well for the women's Royal Rumble because honestly, it makes the most sense. Charlotte is going to get pushed to the top of the card. I know that some people hate it, but Charlotte is going. That's just what it is. She is the top girl. That's her new gimmick, and they're not gonna have her wrestle for the mid-card championship. She's going for the top title because she's the top girl. So, of course, she should win the Royal Rumble. She would be the first woman to win 2, I believe. Which, again, they stack Charlotte's accolades, so that makes sense as well.
Going back to your mid-card talk, though, like, she needs the U.S. now to be a Grand Slam and an Intercontinental.
Yeah, but...
So there are reasons to believe she might not.
That is true, but I think that her top character right now won't work for that.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I think later on to build the
Unless
prestige,
she stacks those belts on top of each other. Which,
oh,
man.
So
if anybody's going to do it, it's her.
Yeah, she's going to be.
Although I guess Becky 2 belts could come and be Becky 3 belts too.
That is true. That is true. Yeah, so Charlotte's my obvious one because I do think it is for sure going to be Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair.
I think it's a lock.
I think that is the most guaranteed match of WrestleMania.
And even if she doesn't win the Rumble, it's still going to be her versus Tiffy.
Yeah.
And whoever won the Rumble is going to choose
Rhea Ripley. Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, the outside betting odds would be Becky for number 2.
Right.
Because obviously there is talk about Becky versus Rhea Ripley again for that match, and honestly, I don't like that.
I don't think it's a good match at all.
I don't think they need to do it again.
I don't even think their styles are good enough to be in the ring together. But
yeah, I wasn't a fan of their match last year.
No, me neither.
So
I think Rhea's a better wrestler and Becky's a better brawler.
Yes, yeah. For my fun fantasy booking for this match, I'm. As much as I love Io Sky and I want to get her a push, I'm not going to say Io Sky. I will say Bianca Belair, mainly because I do think it's time to get her out of the tag team division.
Yes, that's for sure.
She's one too talented and too big of a star to continue to be in that tag team division. And honestly, I would love to see her versus Rhea Ripley. I would love to see that match.
See, I'm gonna play on you a little bit there. Like, I think she's on her way out of the tag team thing because I'm pretty sure she's going to be facing on the Jade Cargill real soon.
I think that's definitely where it's going to go.
I think we all know the story there is she's the one behind.
You think?
Behind Jade Cargill getting attacked behind the stage.
But I think she's going to be the one that... But again, I don't think that Bianca should ever be a heel.
Why not? She's never done it. Let's see.
She hasn't done it. Oh, I mean, she hasn't done it on the main roster. She was a heel her whole time.
But what better way to be the EST of everything as the baddest?
That is true. God, that's good. That's
just throwing it out there.
That is good. I do think that obviously everybody knows that the Jade Cargill, Bianca, Naomi thing will pay off soon. I do think that it won't be Bianca that directly attacked her, but I do think that Bianca's going to get blamed. I'm
even going to make the prediction tonight that Jade Cargill throws out Bianca Belair.
Ooh. Tonight?
How's that for your winner?
Tonight?
Yeah. Dang. Yes. Jade Cargill returns at the Rumble and tosses out Bianca Belair.
Wow. So you're just skipping, like, because Naomi's involved in this too. Like,
that might be so, but Bianca is the
She's definitely the star.
She masterminded the entire thing.
Which, the only way I would turn Bianca Belair heel, and this is just my opinion, is if you also have a Street Profit heel and kind of have a small heel faction.
Her husband doesn't have to be with her.
I've never been a person that says that the husband and the wife need to be together, because I don't think Andrade and Charlotte should interact or anything like that. I just think that it's time to push Montez Ford more.
Oh, I totally agree with you there.
So that's the only reason why I say that.
Montez Ford needs a push and needs it now. Give him the Intercontinental
title. Give him the mid-card title. He is so good.
He is, and you've watched him in his career start off as like this skinny, tall, lanky guy, and now
he got jacked.
He's getting swole. And
he's still got the athletic ability,
right? And he can still leap 10 feet in the air.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, I again, the Bianca Belair stuff, I don't think is going to happen. I think that's a fantasy booking, because I do think that for me, I would do Jade Cargill Naomi first, and then move up to Jade Cargill Bianca Belair.
Oh yeah, she's going to throw out Belair, and then Naomi's going to throw her out.
See, you even...
I'm on top of this.
Dang, you're rolling with my punches.
And I've never written anything down either.
That's crazy. That is crazy. All right, let's move on to the one of the two matches on the card, with the tag team match, the WWE Tag Team Championship match, 203 Falls, DIY versus Motor City Machine Guns. I think the one thing that's really cool about this Royal Rumble is it could go either way. I personally think that DIY should and will win.
I agree.
And it's not anything against Motor City Machine Guns. I do think they're a talented tag team. And the logic for them winning at the Royal Rumble makes sense with them only winning on SmackDown. They didn't get like the big pop, the big national pop that PLE would do. Yeah. So it would make sense for them to be crowned at the Royal Rumble. I just don't think it's time yet.
Personally, for me, I think the Motor City Machine Guns, even though they're new to WWE, are already way more over than DIY ever will be.
Really?
I mean, I think everyone knows who the Motor City Machine Guns are. Well, I mean, like my wife, for example, I showed her R-Truth's post yesterday for Triple H, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, who's that guy?
Really?
So, and my wife watches wrestling with me.
Wow.
So, to me, that means DIY needs this more. And honestly, Tommaso Ciampa as a bad guy is my favorite thing.
He's so good at a heel.
Right, and I'm happy with the way the tag team itself has changed from this fan fest to now they come out and they are bad guys.
Yeah.
And I love it.
So,
but like honestly, I would like to see DIY win the first two falls in this match, and that's it.
Dang, really?
That's what I would, if I was booking, that's what I would do. It's dominance, and they need it.
I get it.
And I'd even let them cheat to win both of them. I don't care.
Wow.
Bad guys cheat, that's what they do.
Yeah.
Even if they get the first one fair, the second one has to be a blatant cheat. Like, pulling on the tights.
Pulling the tights or
while making,
the rope.
and knocking the ref out and using the ref's hand to count.
That's actually, I don't think that's ever been done. That's hilarious.
Anything along those lines would be fantastic for me. So, I think DIY needs to be built. While they're DIY, they need to do it themselves, right? I mean, build it up. It's time.
So, the one thing that's actually really good about this match is that the SmackDown Tag Team division is really good. That's honestly the only... It's the... To me, and we've kind of talked off camera about SmackDown not being the greatest show right now.
Garbage.
But the tag team division's been crazy. Like, even Los Garzas are actually somewhat believable now. Pretty Deadly, who were freaking jokes, 6 months ago, they're actually very much involved with all the storylines.
I still hate them, but yes.
And that's not including the Street Profits, who are not on TV, even though they're still on SmackDown technically.
Oh, those guys need such a better push.
So, honestly, I do think that at Mania, it will be either a triple threat or a fatal four-way for the tag team titles. I do think if they were smart, they would just do the four they've been doing right now. As much as I like the Street Profits, I think they should be moved to Raw. Personally.
I would like it to be the top two from SmackDown, the top two from Raw. Let's get rid of the different tag titles and let's mush them together. Let's have one tag team go back and forth because there's just not enough good tag teams right now.
Honestly,
there's not enough time to build a story for them.
I agree with you, but that's not what they're going to do.
No.
But it's definitely not what they're going to do. But ideally, like they've done such a bad job with the Raw tag team division. It's unbearable to watch. Like,
there's too many stars on.
Like I like the Viking they're the War Raiders. They're the War Raiders now. Like, they're okay.
And again, they're another team with a guy who's one concussion away from his career.
Well, both of them. They're both of them have like serious neck issues.
I don't understand pushing a team like that, to be honest. Like, I get it. Like, fans are back behind them, but you have to look at your brand and in the long run. And while you can love them all you want, you need to make their title reign short.
I think that's why A-Town Down Under went over to Raw. I think they're gonna get the tag team championships over there at some point.
Yeah.
They're A-Town Down Under is good enough to hold the tag team championships again.
I can live without Waller, but I
can't live without Waller.
I think Austin Theory is such a talent, and not giving him a story, a character, anything we can get behind is wrong on every level.
It's definitely wrong on every level, and I 100% agree with that.
He's still so young.
He's young. is freakishly talented in the ring for being how strong he is. He's deceptively, he doesn't appear as strong as he is, but he's a former like bodybuilder, so that's he is freakishly strong, and he's really agile in the ring. He can put on really good matches
until he faces John Cena at Mania.
Well, he just got one, that was garbage, and two, John kind of buried him beforehand.
That was one of the worst matches I've ever seen, and it sticks in my brain to this day.
And I think that's the problem with Austin Theory, is that they were hoping that John Cena would give him the rub, and John Cena doesn't hold back. Right. John Cena's going to do John Cena. You have to either get up to his level, which honestly makes sense, because John's trying to help build stars, so you need to raise up to his level. Yeah. He's not going to go down to your level. And unfortunately, Austin Theory just wasn't ready for that.
He doesn't have that ruthless aggression.
Not now. I mean, he's only like 25. He's still he's a baby.
Yeah, you got to give him at least another 5 years before he. Maybe they brought him up from NXT too soon.
Maybe. All right,
we went off on a tangent.
Yeah, we definitely did. So
I like it.
Let's move on to. Honestly, this match is not as predictable either. The WWE Undisputed Championship, which I hate that they call it the Undisputed Championship, because one, it's not undisputed because there's a World Heavyweight Champion, so it's not undisputed anymore. But anyways, that's another tangent.
I might hot take the hell out of that too. Like, Cody Rhodes is the worst champion I've seen in a long time.
I strongly disagree.
I was so into his complete the story, finish the story, blah, 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 blah. There are some guys who are made to chase the belt, some guys who are made to hold the belt. Cody needs to drop that belt.
So, I'm going to get back to that. let me put a pin on that.
Sorry.
But let's go. It's Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens ladder match for the WWE Championship.
I love that it's a ladder match. It's KO's wheelhouse for a big dude. Like, I love it.
Honestly, it's such an interesting one, because they technically really could go both ways, and it would you can create storylines, and that's the crazy thing about this Royal Rumble, is that there's so many stories that you can do. So it's not quite as believable. I'm 100% picking Cody Rhodes to win this match. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
Cody Rhodes is going to win this match because you want your biggest star to be the champion.
But if KO wins it, you can see the multitude of things that can happen.
100%.
And that's what's cool about it.
Yeah, and I 100% agree with that.
Because would you be mad at a KO Sami Zayn main eventing WrestleMania?
No.
Especially if it ends up in a cell or anything. Like, imagine like a strap match between those two. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, like, honestly, like, you can go many ways with Kevin Owens. Like, even you didn't see SmackDown yesterday because you were dealing with family matters, but with CM Punk coming out and confronting Kevin Owens, I'm like, now I want to fucking see that match. now I want to see that
You
match.
can argue that CM Punk Seth Rollins match is match of the year so far. So you can easily argue that.
Yeah.
And I'm a big criticizer of CM Punk too. At his age, I obviously think he's lost a step, but
yeah, I 100% agree with that as well.
He's doing the right things. He's doing what he can do, and he's doing it well.
He is. He's actually more over right now than I ever expected, because I thought he was going to get a lot of backlash for coming back, especially with how things ended in AEW. I thought he was going to get a lot more backlash, and he initially got some backlash, but he's been the model citizen since he's come back, and I think that's what helped the fans kind of like, okay, he is back, and I
think it helped that he got hurt right away.
Yeah, I agree.
So it let some things fade.
I agree.
And then to show him come back and actually show up a couple times in the middle of him just pumping the crowd up, like that's what we needed.
And honestly, just this,
he's more over than Seth right now, I think.
He is.
That's huge to me.
He is the second most over or third most over person on the roster right now.
I mean, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, easily the top two of this decade or so, in my opinion.
Well, for the decade, but over the last 5 years, it's Cody and Roman.
Cody over the last year and a half or 2 years for absolutely sure. But Roman's been one of the biggest for a while. Seth has been one of the biggest for. Seth has carried Raw for
sure
a decade.
For sure.
It is Monday Night Rollins. There's no doubt about it.
It is.
But CM Punk is taking over in his 40s.
in his mid 40s, not just early 40s. He's in his mid 40s,
and they're doing it right. It's like even if you watch like Bubba Ray's podcasts and things where that guy's all, you see little clips of him here and there talking about how wrestling isn't about wrestling anymore. It's about being able to work the crowd, work the mic,
100%
for 3 weeks and doing a match 1 week.
Yeah,
it's not putting on a physical spectacle every day anymore, which is true. It's just not.
It's not.
And Seth has still pulled that off doing the physical spectacle.
Yeah, so but he's still not wrestling nearly as much as he used to.
No, but like when he did have those titles, when he had...
he wrestled.
He wrestled every damn week.
He did. All right. Let's go back to the championship match. We're going to get into a lot of tangents. We're going to get into a lot of tangents. So, honestly, I
want KO to win. He's not going to win.
What I've told people weeks ago is that if it was after the road of WrestleMania, I could see Kevin Owens winning.
That's fair.
It would make more sense. But you're not gonna have Cody drop the title before Mania because Cody's gonna be in one of the main events, and that's spoiler for later on. Cody will be in one of the main events, in my opinion.
Well, and we have seen even in the past though too. We've seen people who are in a championship match that night still go in the Rumble.
True.
So I mean, could we still see
either KO or Cody Rhodes?
If Cody Rhodes loses, could we see him go in and win the Rumble again?
That would be crazy.
That'd be something I don't think we've ever seen before.
Well, nobody's would have won it 3 years in a row. That would be insane.
Right.
That would be that would build his legacy up so much.
Especially after a ladder match.
Yeah. What I would say,
I assume that's probably going to be the first match of the night, right?
I don't know.
Because lately they've been opening with a championship match.
I think it has to be the Women's Royal Rumble first. I personally think
I could argue that Women's Rumble was better than the men's ones last year, so I wouldn't be mad if they main evented with that.
That's fair. I think there's way too many stars in the men's this year.
Yeah, I agree. The star power's ridiculous.
The star power's ridiculous. I do think the men's for sure is closing.
The argument there would be though that the women are the only ones with the big name returning stars, where the men.
You kind of know who's in it.
As far as we know, for the men, I mean, we know we're going to get Joe Hendry. We know
that's going to happen. Yeah.
I'm speculating the hell out of Zack Ryder, Matt Cardona, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah. There's not going to be surprises for the men's.
Well,
because there's not enough spots. There's not enough spots.
You might get an NXT guy.
I think Trick Williams will probably debut.
Yeah, you might get another NXT guy. You might even get another TNA. You might get a Hardy Boy.
Just one of the boys.
I know for a fact Reba Hardy is going to be at the show. Oh. So
okay.
Matt wouldn't be shocking.
You cannot have that. It has to be Jeff. It has to be Jeff.
Not if Matt comes out and
delete. Yeah.
That's all I need, honestly.
That's true. But
sorry, I went off again.
Yeah. No, I think that this year, unfortunately, I think so. There's two stats that was crazy that came out yesterday that we think about, but we just don't remember. So Roman Reigns have already headlined 9 WrestleManias. Yeah. That's insane.
Yeah.
The second one is that before, we're recording this before the Royal Rumble tonight. Kevin Owens has lost 5 championship matches at the Royal Rumble. 5 championships. I remember, it's been 3 or 4 in a row because he lost to Roman multiple times in a row.
You don't even know how much that hurts my heart. Yeah. KO is my favorite wrestler.
That's just
Undertaker's up here, KO's right here for me. It's that close. I love KO.
And I mean, KO's going to have a marquee match at WrestleMania. Let's be we all know that he's headlined WrestleMania twice. That's insane.
Stone Cold, baby.
Yeah, but it's 5 losses at the
right. I feel like they've done nothing but hurt the guy's credibility, and yet he still stays on top of the card.
100%,
and that's what makes him so amazing.
And that is what makes him so amazing, and that's why I do think he's going to take this L tonight.
To come in as an unpolished guy from the Indies,
yeah,
and succeed the way he has in major pro wrestling is just amazing.
It is just amazing.
Sami Zayn on top of that too. Sami Zayn to me is still not quite the main eventer that KO is, but I love watching Sami Zayn.
They are very good, and unfortunately, their careers are always going to be tied together. It
does suck that way too. I mentioned them without even bringing them up.
Yeah, it's just
it's just what happens.
It is what happens. But as much as I would love Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens headlining WrestleMania, I just don't think it's going
It doesn't have the pull.
It doesn't have the pull. You want Vegas. They're trying to make this the biggest WrestleMania ever because one, they're charging crazy prices, and
that's why they're.
Yeah, we'll
save that for my Royal Rumble prediction.
Yeah, we'll
but, anyway, back to the Sami Zayn thing one more time.
Yeah.
I want to see him come back as El Generico and face Penta.
I would love that. I would.
Totally random, but I needed to throw it in there.
Penta is the shiny new toy for WWE. Miedo. Yeah, the guy,
If I get a chance to get one of them lucha masks, I think I'm gonna get one.
It's so to get off on another tangent. You haven't seen a luchador in WWE anywhere close to Penta because they're all kind of generic Rey Mysterio kind of looking luchadors. And what makes Penta so different is that he has such a different look. He's very dark in his look, and it's funny to me because I do think that if his brother Rey Fenix would have been,
baby,
his brother is
that's when the tag team division will light up.
His brother is undoubtedly, to me, a better wrestler as far as luchador style
and the best rope guy you've ever seen.
But Penta has the aggression and the character.
Yes.
So
Penta can make it as a solo superstar. Rey Fenix can't. Opinion.
I think that Rey Fenix would be caught in that Rey Mysterio clone and just get kind of buried like Sin Cara's and the
Dragon Lee.
Dragon Lee, who's again talented people. It's just that there's already Rey Mysterio, and unless Rey Mysterio actually retires, which
he's 57.
Is he that old?
Yeah, he's in his upper 50s. I mean, he can't have much left.
He can't.
I mean, he's already not wrestling as much. So,
no.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah, and I wouldn't either.
And Dom's mid-20s, so I mean...
Yeah, that's crazy. But I don't even know why we did that tangent for that.
Because we were talking about Sami Zayn, and then we brought it into Lucha.
Are we going to agree that Cody Rhodes is going to win this match?
I assume so.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think it is the logical choice.
But let me tell you, if it doesn't happen that way, person who lives underneath me in my apartment building is going to be pissed.
Yeah, because I mean, again, there's Cody Rhodes. Obviously, when we go to our Royal Rumble picks, my story will be set up that way. But if Kevin Owens did win, I could see. Obviously, there's still Randy Orton. And Randy Orton is a legitimate star still. There's Sami Zayn. There's CM Punk based off of yesterday. There are people that would make sense for Kevin Owens to wrestle. I just don't think it's now.
Roman's even one of them still.
Yeah, Roman is one of them.
And that's the guy you want in Vegas.
Yeah. All right. Since we're talking about it, let's go into the Royal Rumble.
Here we go, baby.
So we're going to try to break this down in many ways. Like, I have my winner. I have who I want to win. And then I'm going to kind of have a little fun. We'll have a little fun with it since we have time. I think you have predicted number one entrant. I have my predicted number one entrant. Let's go with yours.
I think if not one, it's got to be two. And it's because you get that entrance.
You get the entrance
where everyone watches you and they're anticipating this Royal Rumble, and the first thing you hear is, "I believe in Joe Hendry." I mean, and everybody's got to come out and...
Yeah.
We need that. That's got to be at the beginning because he won't get that any other time in the Rumble.
So you told me... We did talk about that before this show. I do think that, one, to me, doesn't make sense. But two, actually, when you said it, I'm like, that makes sense for him to be number two. Because, again, I think they try to set up the Iron Man as number one. It doesn't always work out that way. Sometimes it is number two.
I think sometimes it's 4
or
five.
Sometimes it is. But I do think that they always try to have the first one in there.
Generally, one of the first two lasts for a very long time.
So I personally think.
I mean, I don't think Joe Hendry's going to the end.
No, God, no. Yeah, and that's why
he'll get thrown out probably 4th or 5th.
Yeah, and that's why I didn't have him as my number one. But for my number one, I went with Carmelo Hayes. And
you really like him.
And I like him, but it's more the fact that WWE clearly does like him. As much as he has 50-50 booking, which that drives me crazy.
50-50 booking.
Like, he's going 50-50 with Big Jim.
If you really think Carmella's going to be number one, like, doesn't Andrade make sense to be number two?
Oh, and start that back up again? I mean, honestly...
How many times have those two fought each other?
Technically 7, but the 7th one did not count. Because
it doesn't matter. That's too many.
But the one thing they do with WWE now, and I love, is that they build forever rivalries. It's not just temporary. It's like forever. So when I see you, it's on sight. Like, we're going to fight. Like, and I love that about it. So I can see Andrade and we see each other. We still have beef. Like, we still that cool. Yeah. And just start fighting. So that would make sense. Because Andrade is in the match, for sure. So I think so I'll go through the names that are 100% already verified. So according to here, John Cena, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre, Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, Rey Mysterio, LA Knight, Logan Paul, Shinsuke Nakamura, Penta, Chad Gable, Braun Breaker, Carmelo Hayes. Jimmy Uso declared yesterday, and it wasn't updated on this one. And I believe there's been a couple other that were verified yesterday that's not on this list.
So that's 16 verified.
Yeah. There's not going to be a lot of mid-carders.
So while we're at this, let's talk about who might be the surprise or who could be a comeback or whatever. Like, I mean, I've already said Zack Ryder / Matt Cardona. Like,
that one makes sense. That one, I can see that.
You got to come out and give a little Rough Rider, you know. But I remember seeing stories of X-Pac working out in the last year.
Oh, God,
I'm just saying, what if, you know?
And he's Minnesota. We're based in Minnesota. He's Minnesota's own. So.
But what else, you know, gets the crowd going than a little bit of Suck It, right?
Yeah.
I mean...
just a little bit
Just saying. Just saying.
Just a little bit of Suck It. That might have to be a t-shirt if the show actually gets big.
But I mean, there can't be too many because this is already too star-studded.
It's way star-studded.
Randy Orton's not one of those confirmed, right?
No, but he's for sure. He's going to be there.
He's got to be there. So that's another guy. Like,
I know a lot of people want AJ Styles to be there.
I think AJ Styles is still hurt.
I think he's way too... I think he's going to be gone for, like, all this year, I think.
I wouldn't be shocked to not see him come back.
Yeah. It was a way more brutal injury than we ever thought.
So it would be nice, but... And then, like, I don't really know who else you could see coming in as a big surprise. Like, you got to think of some older guys, probably. And that's why I thought of X-Pac. I mean, we've seen the Hurricane the last couple of years, right?
Yeah.
Stand back! You know, I mean, that'd be great, too. I mean, I'm okay seeing him whenever I get to see him.
Yeah.
What about... I never remember the damn guy's name. The guy that fell under the ring.
Oh, Titus?
Right. Could he come in and give us a little skit in front of the ring again?
Honestly, if you think about it, haven't seen him in the actual ring in at least 3 years.
Since around that Rumble.
Yeah, I think that was about that time he's been
But he is still in the WWE.
Yeah, he's an ambassador. Yeah, he definitely gets paid by WWE still.
We know what's his nuts, the big dude that was fighting with Seth, he's not going to be back. He broke his ankle.
Yes. Actually, so Bronson Reed. I would not be shocked if I think
he watched his ankle snap in half coming down from the top of the cage.
But that's just a couple screws.
I'll give you a couple screws and tell you how to fight field, right?
I do think that it's more logical that he could come back. I don't think he would, but I do think it's possible. I do think medically, I believe it might be possible.
Right. I'm 92% sure we're getting a Hardy, at least one.
Yeah.
Bubba Dudley wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, so I do think there's going to be a lot less legends this year, and honestly, I don't think they need the legends this year, because the roster is stacked this year. When's the last time Roman Reigns has been in a Royal Rumble match? That's insane.
Well, I mean, he's probably headlined the last 8 out of the last 9 Manias.
Yeah, but he's gone in as champ because he's beaten Kevin Owens like 4 years in a row for the title. So it's rare for him to be in the Royal Rumble. Like, he's a big star. Seth Rollins, big star. Drew McIntyre, big star. CM Punk, big star. John Cena, big star. Like,
about as big as I get.
It is loaded this year. Like, there will be, for sure, there has to be at least one NXT person, and I'm calling it to be Trick Williams. because he gave up the NXT title to
Yep.
Obafemi. So to me, it would make more sense for him to come out, and I'm assuming that'll be the spot where Carmelo Hayes and him they fight and all that stuff because Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams have beef in NXT, so that makes sense.
What about a little bit of Ethan Page?
Ethan Page, I think, is going to be.
And what was his tag team partner?
Josh Alexander,
who is not technically in the WWE yet, but I think he is.
Again, see, this is stuff that that's very possible. Very possible, because I believe they're called the North or the Norse.
Yeah, something like
that. Yeah, Josh Alexander is very talented. I do think Ethan Page is coming to the main roster sooner than later. One, they let him rub shoulders with The Rock. That does not happen if they don't believe in you. So I think he's.
I also think we have to get one more TNA person. Like I don't really know who that would be. Because of this merger thing, like, you have to have them.
But the NXT deal is, the TNA deal is mostly with NXT. Like, of course, Joe Hendry's going to show up because he's done it last year.
Well, he's the champ now. So.
Yeah, so that makes sense. But I do think there'll be.
Well, the reason I think there's got to be more, like even in the women's, like Jordan Grace is now a WWE star.
That contract.
So they do need to put another TNA woman in there. I mean, there's a few choices.
I think for the women,
the TNA knockouts are gold.
Yeah,
so.
I think for the women for sure. I think the women's Royal Rumble will have a lot more TNA and have a lot more NXT because again they need. Unfortunately, the women in WWE aren't the greatest right now, or at least fully through the roster. There's a lot of lower mid card people that you probably don't want in the Rumble.
You know what? Back to the women's Rumble. I forgot about one who I would really like to see win. Michin. The woman deserves it. She has bled nothing but greatness for the last, year? And prior to that, she was nothing but AJ Styles' wingman, and it was garbage. Right?
I like Michin. I don't want her to win. She needs to win the mid-card title.
I don't know that there's a story for her. I'm just saying, like, the dream would be... And she's getting older, like, it's
we're all getting older.
Right, I'm just saying, you gotta let these people get there before they can't.
So, honestly...
I do think she beats Chelsea Green for that U.S. title eventually.
For sure. Oh, actually, I don't know about that. So, as much as you say Michin, and I do like Michin, I honestly think that the play I would do is actually Zelina Vega.
Oh, I love her too, yeah.
Because, honestly, Michin and Zelina Vega are very similar. They're baby faces. They are over.
Yeah, they're women who have a lot of talent that don't get showcased. Yeah.
And they're, honestly, they're interchangeable. But I personally would rather have Zelina Vega get it over Michin. And I do think that...
I could back that.
And, I mean, if you think about it, if the rumors are true about Aleister Black coming back...
Oh, there's another guy we could see tonight.
Having Aleister Black win the mid-card title and having her win the mid-card title would be... But
again, similar to my hopes and dreams of Zack Ryder and Chelsea Green.
Exactly. So, to get back to the men's Rumble, there's so many possibilities. So, I think for me, anything mid-card, they're not going to win. Like, as much as I love Penta, he's not going to win.
There's just too many stories now.
There's too many stories. So, you have your final four.
Penta and Breaker have to fight in the Rumble tonight for sure.
Oh, for sure.
That's a thing.
And honestly,
if those two were the first two, I'd be happy. Breaker could be my Iron Man. If you want an Iron Man, Braun Breaker's my guy, I guess.
Really? I mean, it makes sense because they've done nothing with him. Or not much with him.
He's been so quiet for weeks. I have to think the guy got hurt.
Maybe. I think a part of it's
enough to keep him on the screen.
I think that, honestly, just how they've treated the Raw champions just across the board has been terrible.
Yes.
Because, no offense to, Gunther or Braun Breaker, they've been pushed aside for the bigger stars with the CM Punks, the Seth Rollins,
and
the Jey Usos.
And that's never a good thing when the bigger stars are not your champs.
And, they're paper champs. And unfortunately, it shows that they aren't... Like, Gunther did not wrestle... He still hasn't wrestled on the Raw yet, I don't think. And
I don't think so.
You're like, that's crazy. He's the champ. He has not wrestled on the Netflix Raw. And he wasn't even on the first show as a champion. Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane to think about. Like, And, Gunther, obviously he's not as big of a star as Seth Rollins or CM Punk. Or even, honestly, he's not as big a star as a Damian Priest. But still,
he's
holy
not
crap.
as big a star as any of the guys who have been challenging him for his title.
Yeah.
I don't really care what anybody says.
But
Gunther legitimized that Intercontinental title. He really did.
Yeah, he did.
And he workhorsed his way into doing it.
Yeah.
But he's delegitimizing the big boy title.
Oh, for sure. And it's terrible because it shouldn't be that way. They've booked it terribly.
Yeah, it sucks because it makes him look bad, but it's not his fault.
It's not his fault. It's the booking.
I'd love to watch him and Sheamus go through another chop fest.
Yeah.
Dude, seriously, that's probably one of the greatest matches of all time. That's got to be up there. I don't even care what anybody says.
Yeah. But yeah.
The first time they fought.
Yeah, yeah. Well, even when Helm, Drew, and Gunther, oh god, that was good. That was a good Mania match. All right. So let's go with who are your final four?
My final four, I've been leaving Cena off the list, and I don't really know why, but I'm leaving Cena off the list still. Sami Zayn, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns. That's my final four.
All right.
I feel like they have the most storylines going for them, and Cena will always find a way to interject himself in, so he doesn't need to be in the final four.
So I almost identical. So I don't think Cena is going to win the Rumble. He was the betting favorite for a while. I personally believe
it's just too obvious.
I personally believe the idea is that he chases for the championship for a while. Because if you just give him the championship match at WrestleMania, what's the rest of this year for? So I personally think that SummerSlam would be the point that I would give him the title. So I think his spot will be at SummerSlam. My final four are Seth Rollins, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre.
Okay.
So Sami Zayn, I think Sami Zayn will be the fifth one. I think Sami Zayn will be eliminated before the final four. But storyline, it makes all these storylines are so intertwined.
There's so many good stories right now.
So it makes sense. I think Drew McIntyre's a slightly bigger star, so I do think that Drew McIntyre will outlast Sami Zayn. But again, I do think that Drew McIntyre will be the first one out of those four eliminated.
So who's your winner?
Oh,
you're going first.
You want me to go first? All right. So my winner is, of course, my tribal chief, Roman Reigns.
I'm going to get behind that.
So, storyline wise, the reason why logically I think Roman Reigns will win is I do think that Mania might actually end up being a triple threat for the WWE Championship. I do think it will be Cody versus Roman versus CM Punk with the favor. So, the reason why I don't think CM Punk is going to win is the favor. Why would he need, the favor is lingering and everybody knows it, so the favor makes sense.
That's fair. See, I have the favor going somewhere else. But.
So I want to hear what your thoughts are, but the favor is lingering, so I'm like, CM Punk doesn't need to win the Royal Rumble. He's definitely going to be in one of these marquee matches. That's for sure, unless he gets injured again. But it's clear he's been the one setting up the Mania match, and it's going to be against Cody, I feel.
Yeah.
So I don't think...
Does Roman win the title back?
No.
Wow.
No. I don't think Roman needs it at this point. I don't think Roman needs the title. I do think that Cody needs to drop the title, because I think either we talked about this
off... So does CM Punk win it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
Mania. That's a Mania moment. That's what Punk wants, right?
Yeah. Punk wants a Mania moment. Punk, I do think Punk is willing to lose at Mania if needed, but I do think that Cody needs to drop the title. And I think we talked about this on camera. I think that some people are better suited chasing the title than actually being the champion. And I do think that Cody is better chasing. But I do think a part of that is based on the fact that they haven't booked him really well during this run either. So it was a lot of filler matches where you knew that he wasn't going to lose. Him versus AJ Styles, those matches were amazing. And then after that, it was just dog crap for a while. And now that Kevin Owens is hot and over, and it's a believable story, and it makes sense. It makes logical sense for Kevin Owens to be doing what Kevin Owens is doing. it's taken some shine off of Cody Rhodes. Granted, for us as grown-ass, men that are almost 40 years old, Cody isn't meant for us. Cody is the new John Cena. Cody is the most over person in WWE.
Is Cody older than we are?
Cody's a year older than us, I believe.
Yeah, so
no,
it's meant for us.
But I'm saying his target audience though are the kids and the common fans, not the.
It's because he's a little goody two shoes.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, honestly, it's going to get close to where he's going to get close to the heat that he got in AEW at the end, and for us type of fans, but for the majority of fans who aren't wrestling fans like us, he's still beyond over. So
for me, all he's got is a whoa. That's all I have. I don't care about the rest of it.
He looks the part. He looks the part. Like he's not the best wrestler in the world.
Boring.
But he looks the part of the top guy. And honestly, the business is still completely thriving since he's been the top guy. If not more than it was even with Roman Reigns.
But I mean, and don't get me wrong, I love me some Roman Reigns. But my problem with like a lot of these top guys that they seems like they always get, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, they have like 3 moves.
Yeah.
It's punch, punch, kick, kick, and for Cody, it's a Cody cutter.
Yeah.
Oh man, Cody cutter 4 times. It takes away from Orton to me, like.
I've never thought about it.
Okay, out of nowhere. Oh wait, it's a Cody cutter.
It's a Cody off the top. The Cody cutter drives me crazy.
I hate the Cody cutter.
We're gonna get into a tangent, but Cody cutter drives me crazy. One, because it never looks good.
Right.
It never looks good. Like especially off the top rope.
It's a complete sell from whoever else, and sometimes they're in the worst position, and it is the worst sell.
It never looks good. It never looks good. So yeah, I 100% agree with you on that. Crossroads, honestly, I do.
Crossroads is a sweet movie.
I'm
never going to talk shit about Crossroads.
And again, it depends on who you have Cody Rhodes in the ring with. He's not a person that I feel like can elevate an average
He's not
wrestler.
a John Cena.
He's
not a Stone Cold.
Yeah, his matches with Seth Rollins and with AJ Styles were amazing because they were with amazing wrestlers. His matches with Kevin Owens, okay. It's just he needs the right person to look good. Like even the match itself with Roman Reigns the last 2 years, besides the interference, were actually really good matches until it got clusterfucked into oblivion.
Yeah, until 9 guys had to come in and save him.
So it's there. He's got the talent. It's just you have to book the champions right. And honestly, with all the championships, for the most part, they haven't booked them the greatest.
Right.
So, I mean, but again, to ramble on, I do think it'd be a triple threat, and honestly, it makes sense because those are legitimately, unless you have somebody else coming in from the outside, those are your 3 biggest stars, and that's what you want for your night 2. That'll be a legit main event. Yes, you've done Cody and Roman already. That's why you add CM Punk. And then it makes it a different dynamic at that point because, again, Punk has stories with those 2 as well.
Right.
So it just makes so much sense.
So what's night 1 of Mania?
Shoot. So that's tough because I don't have a main event set for that.
Because that would be Gunther, right?
You would hope that you would hope.
Theory.
But I don't think Gunther's good enough to main event a WrestleMania. He is not. I am sorry, he is not good enough to main event in WrestleMania. That's why I was hoping that honestly he would drop the title.
Charlotte and Tiffy.
No, I don't think Charlotte's big enough. I don't think Tiffany's nearly big enough. So honestly, I don't know. That's when at that point you could have a Swerve and do somebody for a championship match.
Like a KO and Sammy fight.
Something like that, yeah. You can do that, or not to make any spoilers, you could do Roman Rock as night 1. You could. and then have CM Punk.
Because we know that fight's coming.
It will happen at some point. And I personally don't think it's going to happen now, but it wouldn't shock me if it happened either. Because, again, night 1 will make sense, and then have CM Punk and Cody night 2. And that would be actually, star power-wise, that's probably the most ideal situation for them.
Right.
All right. Now, I've talked about what are your predictions?
Well, I've been seeing it a lot online lately after I, have been talking about it for a very long time, but Roman wins the Rumble, and then the timer starts, and here comes The Rock, the final boss at number 31. It makes so much sense to me from a story standpoint to bring him in and throw his cousin over the top rope for high chief status, and then he finally gets to finish the Cody Rhodes thing, making him a bloody mess, and Mama Rhodes! and we get to finish that off at Mania. And like you said, Vegas wants the spectacle. What's a bigger star in wrestling than The Rock has ever been?
The biggest star, period, in the planet Earth.
Right. So, I mean, that is the guy to me. That would be that's probably my speculation pick, honestly, because that'd be the dream.
Yeah.
To me, that's the perfect story. Honestly, though, I think CM Punk wins the Rumble. Aside from that, like if I can't have fun, I think CM Punk wins the Rumble.
So you did touch on the favor. What do you think the favor is going to be?
I think the favor is something along the lines of, I guess I don't really know. Like because I'm not sold on CM Punk winning the Rumble, but that's the guy who I think is going to do it.
It makes the most. He's been built up the most by far.
Now the favor to me is him losing at Mania, and then calling in the favor for SummerSlam. Or something along the lines of that, or him not winning the Rumble and then calling in the favor for SummerSlam, because like you said, we still need a big star for SummerSlam.
Yeah.
And let's say Cena comes in and wins the title from Gunther or something, and Cena holds it till SummerSlam and loses it to CM Punk, because Cena and Punk is something I think we still need.
I think so too.
So to me, CM Punk at SummerSlam is what I want, but I know CM Punk has the giant aspirations of main eventing Mania.
Yeah.
Now, I guess we don't know his contract details for sure, so we don't know that he's not going to be there for the next one.
Yeah.
But
I believe it's been reported that he has restructured and re-signed a deal. I do think he's in for another 3 years, allegedly.
But I mean, so like I saw a clip of Logan Paul podcast with Paul Heyman not too long ago, and Paul Heyman was asked the question of where do you see Logan Paul in 3 months or something, and Paul Heyman's answer was, you don't see him in 3 months, you see him in a year, you see him in a year and a half, you see him in 2 years, So if you haven't decided where your story's going so far out, what's the point of your story?
Yes.
See, and this is where I go back to interviews from The Rock, saying that when they decided they were going to bring him back in, where was the ending point going to be? And I have a feeling the ending point is Cody and Rock at Mania.
That's what logically I thought of until the Netflix show. The Netflix show has thrown me in the loop. We're talking about the debut.
He was just playing corporate bitch at that point. Corporate Rock was a thing to remember.
For sure. And I do think that, so there's two ways of going about that even if it was a swerve for The Rock to kind of break that character with him kind of acknowledging Cody as the guy. So he still doesn't have to go after Cody.
Time out. How was that a character break, first off? Because
he was not the final boss.
But even before he left last time, when he told him he had to leave, but we're going to finish this, he shook his hand. He said, you are this, you have won, you are the champ, but remember, I will be back.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Him giving his respects on the first Raw is not a character break. It's not.
So
it's him acknowledging you like, hey, you're still here, and I still know it. But remember, I'm the final boss, and you're my bitch.
Yeah, I mean,
and I will be cheering on The Rock so heavily when that match finally happens, even though I know The Rock's not going to win. You can't let him win.
Yeah.
You cannot delegitimize your star like that.
Or you can. But The Rock,
unless Cody does something very bad behind the scenes, no, it's not going to happen.
I mean, The Rock be politicking, so you never know.
Oh, he'd be politicking.
So, I mean, I wouldn't put it past him that he wins the championship. But then again, at the same time, you know he acts, and he's so busy. He doesn't have time to show up, so I don't think he would, in theory. So where I was going with it is, technically, you're not wrong. Like, they can revisit the Cody Rhodes stuff. I personally feel like they push that to the side. Because always the original story was Rock Roman. It was always supposed to be Rock Roman. Yeah. So if you are doing the Paul Heyman thing, it was always supposed to lead to Rock Roman. And they've teased it, they've made it very clear that The Rock's status as a high chief does trump the head of the table. They've put that in canon, in the storyline, in Samoan culture and Polynesian culture. That is also a very much fact. So I would not be shocked if he did come back. To me, it would be Roman, not Cody. But at the same time, it could be Cody as well. But the way that Cody's showing cracks in his character feels like they've moved past that aspect. And it would make more sense for CM Punk to have that match with Cody. But again, it's so unpredictable right now.
That's why this is fun.
It's so unpredictable.
I love
it. I love it. Listen, like, honestly, I haven't had this much fun as a wrestling fan in a very long time. Oh, God.
It's been a very, very long time.
And it's, again, the in-ring wrestling, for the most part, is not quite there because they don't have time for matches much. Like, these pay-per-views are like 4 matches.
That's been my complaint on Raw, actually. There's been, 4 matches on Raw?
It's like 4 matches.
It's a lot of talking and replays, and, I don't mind talking. I mean, I like a good story, but it's been a lot of replays.
Right.
Or a lot of this fancy drone camera that's flying around, which is cool. I mean, I like it, but do it during a match. I don't want to see I don't need to see the crowd every 5 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it makes the most sense to do the drone shot when Jay does his.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That looks amazing. Like let's be real. Like Jay Uso's over, but he's not a great wrestler. So this is the perfect way to package him. Like, hey, let's show how popular he is with the kids.
And that's where I think the tag division is hurting. Like the Usos being separate is hurting us more than it's helping us. Yeet is cool, right?
Yeah.
Sure, fuck it. This is cool, but he doesn't have the talent in the ring. I can go back to him in the McIntyre match on Raw, the second Raw, I think it was on Netflix.
Yeah.
The crowd was dead silent. That was the most boring match that I think I've seen on Raw since, the Ruthless Aggression era.
Yeah. And
that was bad.
And what some people won't understand, and I say this with respect to Jey Uso, because he is talented, don't get me wrong. You can be over, but you can also not be over at the same time. Like, he's over.
I think Jimmy's the better wrestler.
Jimmy is the better wrestler.
Right. Jay is the performer.
Yes.
And that's why they need to be together. They are one complete pro wrestler.
That is actually oddly very true.
What is Bill and Ted? What's that little monster called when they run together? You know what I'm talking about,
I know
right?
what you're talking about. Yeah.
That thing. They are that thing. Yeah. Whatever he's called.
Yeah. And I mean, you're right. The tag team division can use a lot more talent. That's why, I love Penta.
When Ray Phoenix gets
back, they need to tag him up. I don't care. Like, give Penta maybe a mid-card championship or 2 in between, because I do think that
he can hold the IC and the tag champs at the same time.
But I also think that Ray Phoenix is not going to get out of his contract anytime soon. It's going to be.
I don't know how much time he's got left, but I think he got hurt and they're holding him off because of it.
I think they added damn near 9 months or so.
Because he broke his arm.
Yeah.
In the nastiest way.
Yeah. Which is the biggest.
And don't get me wrong, I am not slighting the talent of AEW in any way, shape, or form, but that is not a very superior product. And anybody suffering there needs to move on.
I think that it depends on, and this is going to be a completely different tangent, depends on what you want from your professional wrestling. I think that the majority of fans, obviously, if you can tell by ratings, money, everything, you need story. and AEW doesn't do story well.
Yeah, you cannot pull two names out of a hat and say you're facing this guy. And then on top of that, because they have no rapport with each other, I don't like the word botch. Just like some wrestlers will tell you they don't like that word.
Right.
But AEW is botch city. I mean, there's problems there, and it's because of that. They don't have a training center. They don't have guys working together, working on this story like long term.
Yeah, there's definitely no long term.
Yeah, there's nobody building rapport, so that's why you see these mistakes more often, and it's got nothing to do with any of these guys not being talented or not being able to do what they do. Some of these guys are old and washed up and shouldn't be around anymore. Some of these guys are too young to know how to do some of these other things in the ring.
Yeah.
But all of that can be fixed by spending some time together and doing a long-term story versus a one-night banger.
I agree with you, and I also think a lot of their mistakes in the ring and just their mistakes in general is they're going into business for themselves. Because, again, I think the one thing that is beautiful about WWE is they know when to be unselfish for the product. Like let's say CM Punk. He has an ego. Let's be honest. He's got an ego. But he knows when to go into business and when it's best for the story or best for the business to take a loss or whatever. That's something that CM Punk's always done, and that's what they do really well in WWE. Like, Drew McIntyre's lost a lot. Like, let's be real. If Drew McIntyre was in a real fight with a lot of these wrestlers, he would win 99% of the time. But he knows, one, for his character, because it develops his character even more when he loses, because it unravels another part of his character.
Right.
And two, it's just he's unaffected by the losses. Like, he's still a believable guy regardless of the losses. Like, he's still believable. KO. He's still believable despite the losses. Even when he brings up, I've been losing a lot, man. like it's still believable. So I think that's the big difference, is that the culture in WWE, especially right now, is hotter than it has ever been. And it's because they've developed a good culture behind the scenes. And in AEW, I'm not saying they have a bad culture. They have no culture.
Right.
They just simply do not have a culture. And it's because Tony Khan, again, another tangent, another ramble on, Tony Khan just, he understands the business. He understands the business of wrestling. He understands that. But again, he's very short-term with his thinking, because he can't be long-term with his booking, because he does other stuff. He works for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He works for all these other organizations. So his sole focus isn't AEW.
I think the other thing, too, is like he's under the gun. Like, I mean, if AEW doesn't do something now, probably in trouble.
I mean, they just signed it.
I know they've done things like HBO and whatever, but how long term is that? We don't know the money details of that. We don't, none of that. But
yeah, I mean, it's all speculation.
But I mean, everyone knows that AEW's here, and
it's not close.
Yeah, right. So I mean, you have to know that if you don't do something, this just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he needs to know that the long-term part is actually what's going to help him. But I think he's looking at the short term.
He's panicking because, like, they've lost, like, just over the last, I believe, year or so, they've lost, like, or maybe 2 years, they lost, like, 300, 400,000 viewers. 300 and 400,000. Yeah. That's damn near half their viewership they've lost in the last year.
Well, I know they got, like, I actually went away from it, I don't know, probably a couple of months before the Max thing.
Yeah.
And when the Max thing happened, I was like, all right, I'll give this a whirl, right? I don't think I made it through half of the first event. I just didn't. It's not that any of the Maxes weren't good. Like, I love an Orange Cassidy. I love watching Orange Cassidy. Let's face it, that guy makes me happy.
Yeah.
But I felt no reason that I needed to watch it. There's no story to it. Like, you can't just watch a guy you like watching, but not knowing what the repercussions of the battle are.
Yeah. There's way too many fucking championships there.
Yes. Oh my god.
Like, what the heck is the Continental Championship? Like, this doesn't, like, they have too many championships. They have so much, they actually have good talent there.
They do.
They have really good talent. They're not utilizing them well. And like it sucks that when you bring Kenny Omega back, like like the ratings should have popped some, and I mean they've gotten a little bit better when he's come back, but that shows on how bad it was. If he wasn't there, it'd probably drop even further.
Right.
And Kenny Omega's Kenny goddamn Omega. He's
right.
good.
And dude, there's even been pushes for people outside of wrestling to tell Kenny Omega to go to WWE.
Fun fact is that he's been actually pretty clear that when the Elite re-signed with AEW, so Hangman Page, the Young Bucks, and Kenny Omega, 2 of them wanted to go to WWE. 2 of them wanted to stay. And he's been pretty clear that he actually was one of the ones that wanted to go to WWE. Because he does have friends in WWE. I mean, all of them have friends in WWE.
And he's got to know, like, his name is enough. It's the Motor City Machine Guns.
Yeah.
His name is enough that if he went to WWE, he's already going to be the main headlining at some card at some point.
Oh, for sure.
Quickly.
For sure. And he's got the talent. He's got the look. And I think what his thing he wanted to prove, because in AEW, it's about the wrestling. And obviously, he knows he's a great wrestler. He's one of the best in the world.
When he's healthy.
When he's healthy. But
which is never.
The one thing about WWE is it offers a different view of pro wrestling. And he wants to be the most complete version of himself. So he knows he wants to work on his character. He wants to work on what character he brings to the table. Because he's a creative person. It's not just about being the best in ring. It's about being the best presentation. And honestly, WWE offers that.
Yes. So
he was not shy about that. And I believe the brothers were the other split. One of the brothers wanted to leave, one of the wanted to stay.
Wow.
So it's interesting to view that because they're a group, so they went all together. And I'm sure he's not mad about his decision. He's getting paid very healthy.
Isn't he some kind of VP for them too? Or
something? It's a paper EVP, but he's an EVP.
I'm sure he's making paper on it.
Yeah, so it's
Khan pays everyone too much paper.
Oh, he's paid, but he's got the money to do it. And two, honestly, for the wrestlers, I do not blame him one bit. If a Bobby Lashley and Edge. Daniel Bryan, I do not blame him one bit. Like, Jon Moxley's making ridiculous amount of money. Like, I believe he's like damn near $10 million a year. I'm like, I would say at AEW too, even though I think I suck compared to like $10 million. I'm taking the money.
Right.
I am taking the money. And this is probably a hot take. I hate Jon Moxley. He's a one-trick pony, and I
think hate is a strong word.
Hate is a strong word. Let me take that back. I am not a fan of Jon Moxley. I think he's a one-trick pony. I'm not saying that he's not talented. He's got the one basic character, and there's no depth to his character.
Right.
And honestly, he's been pushed way too much in AEW. He should not be a 4-time champion. He should not be the champion.
Yeah, for me, he's not a solo superstar.
No.
He's a guy who needs to be part of a faction, but he does things on his own.
Yeah.
Like, Shield was perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
He was the enforcer on the Shield, and it could just crazy. It makes sense, right? That fits him.
Yeah.
Like, as much as you can knock Vince McMahon's storytelling for the last however many years of his career, he still knew how to build the right guy in the right place.
Right. And again, he wasn't always right, but a lot of times he was.
Yeah.
Actually, a fun fact for a lot of people that don't know, Roman Reigns was actually not a Vince McMahon guy. So a lot of people don't know that the guy that Vince actually wanted to push as the next big star was Big E.
Hey, he was onto something with Big E too, though. Let's be honest.
It was Triple H and Dusty that actually convinced him, like, Roman is the next guy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he was onto something. Big E is something special, and I'm really sad that he came back.
Can we see him back tonight?
Ah.
They set up a story with him.
I do truly think he's done.
I don't.
I hope not.
I don't know that he's back tonight, but I do know for a fact he has said over and over again he has done everything in his power. He's still getting stem cells. He's still doing this and that and this and that to try to come back. He said, if it's over, I'm okay with it. It's over.
Yeah.
But I don't know that it is.
And
they set him up with that New Day breakup. And everyone's already doing the big E-Rocks. So, I mean, dude, if Yeah, swear to God, tonight, if you hear, "Ah!" and he comes out,
I might actually be like, so I am a Big E fan, and I'm not the biggest massive Big E fan, but I'm a Big E fan. I'm not emotional at all. I might actually tear up if he comes back tonight. Like anytime.
And if he got to go in there and throw one or two of them New Day motherfuckers out,
yeah.
oh man, I'd be so happy.
Yeah, I would be like over the moon. I think I'm holding back any possibility of that happening because I don't want to get my heart broken.
There's a lot of speculation on it, though. A lot of people think it's happening, which is crazy. And Nikki Bella, that's another one. I keep seeing that name a lot. I keep seeing a lot of AJ.
I can see Nikki
AJ
Bella.
Lee's not happening. I don't know why everyone keeps thinking AJ Lee's happening. AJ Lee's not happening.
That's because even her husband's kind of trolling it too. But
he straight up said, like, his first day back, dude, AJ's doing this and this and this. She's like a VP for some damn company now.
She does not need wrestling.
If she ever does another wrestling thing, it is not... I mean, it is a one-off, for sure. So the Rumble... Maybe, right? Maybe.
Right.
But it's more likely to me to see her do, like, a convention run at some point.
Yeah. Because, she doesn't even do convention runs or anything like that.
No, she does nothing.
Yeah,
she doesn't associate with wrestling at all.
She doesn't need to. Which is weird because there's pictures of her crying with Lita, like a young AJ Lee with Lita, so she loves the business.
Right.
It's just, I think, for me, that's the disheartening part. Like, I get, wrestling's not for everyone. I think people that aren't into wrestling are dumb sometimes.
I hate the reasons why they're not.
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
I don't care
fake.
that you don't like something, but it's fake is the dumbest reason.
Yeah, it's cinematic storytelling, and honestly, to this day, right now, you cannot say that wrestling is not cinematic storytelling.
Right.
Like right now, the layers of characters are insane right now,
and all the actors do their own stunts.
Yeah,
they're double. They're double.
That's the
they're double agents.
Yeah, that's the perfect way to think about it. They're action stars that do their own stunts.
Right.
That's crazy. Yeah.
I mean, the TV show Heels has a huge following.
Yeah.
That's it right there. That's about as fake as it gets.
Yeah. Yeah. that's just way breaking the fourth wall.
The movie The Wrestler won a bunch of awards, right?
Yeah.
Didn't Mickey Rourke win like a big comeback award for that movie?
I believe he might have won the Golden Globe. I don't think he won the Oscar.
It's Golden Globe. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's close.
All these damn award shows are the same damn thing. It's like AEW having 19 titles.
19. God, yeah. All right. Is there anything else you want to talk about on this podcast?
I don't think so.
I think we're good.
I think we've done enough
I
tangents.
think an hour and 12 minutes. I think we're pretty good.
Okay.
So hopefully you guys enjoy it. Hopefully stay tuned for the next one. And this guy will be moving in the next one, so it'll be a little bit different. So stay tuned for the podcast.
This glorified Mark is busy.
Yeah. All right.